Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm sitting here, as always, with Matt. And once again, filling in for Mike. Unfortunately, the camera can't catch everybody, but Psycrotes is back with everybody. So the High Priest is here. Tonight, we have the one and only Dee Wallace on the show. And, you know, for those of you who don't know who Dee Wallace is...
No relation to Rasheed Wallace. Former Detroit Pistons player.
She was in E.T. the Extraterrestrial. She was in Critters. She was in Cujo. And she was in Rob Zombie's Halloween, amongst other stuff. The original Hills Have Eyes. You know, she's one of the original Scream Queens out there. So we'll be joined by Dee Wallace in roughly about an hour. So stay tuned for that. But what we're going to do is right now, we're going to record the first half for those of you watching live. And of course, for those of you listening on the actual podcast version of this, once it drops on October 18th. So pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to get into our beer of the week. And Matt, dude... You came through for me. There's something that I have been looking for the longest time, and I haven't been able to find it.
What?
And you came through.
What?
What? You came through for the beer of the week this week. Oh, yeah. Would you have the honor of saying what our beer of the week is for this week?
Absolutely. It's Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA.
What?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. And you know what? To be 100% honest, I'm not a big IPA guy.
Yeah,
I'm really not. I never have been a big IPA guy, but this...
Ray, you're a big alcohol guy.
Yeah, I'm a big alcohol guy in general. So, you know, but no, this is...
That's like me saying I was a big wine guy. I was a big wine guy and everything else in the world.
Yeah. You were a big medicine guy. You were a big... Let me just put... Let me just put a random concoction in a bottle and just drink that shit, and that'll be it. So...
Hey, when you got to work with some of the guys I had to work with.
But, you know, here's the thing. I know IPAs I'm not big with, but every time Steve Austin does his appearance on Monday Night Raw or whenever he appears, he does his, you know, typical beer toast with these. I'm not sure if I could do that. Like chugging one of these down like that. But of course, 90% of it, he kind of gets all over himself when he does the Stone Cold Salute. But no, dude, you definitely came through. For those of you who have not had Steve Austin's Broken Skull IPA, go and find it. It's amazing. No doubt, probably one of my favorite IPAs. And it's not that the fact that Stone Cold's one of the guys who helped me get into the wrestling business, or I'm a huge mark for Stone Cold. But no, I do not discriminate against beer. That's just the way it works. And of course, also, we're going to do our shot of the month, which we debuted last week.
You guys drink so much.
It's called the Happy Hour. What do you think this is? What do you expect us to do?
Starring Psycrotes, the recovering alcoholic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember you said last week when you saw the bird dog, you were like, "Oh man, I might actually, start drinking."
So I realized there's all these Sioux liquors now: Stone Cold's beer, Megadeth beer. Iron Maiden beer.
Dude, we got to get the Iron Maiden beer.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And the Megadeth beer. Like, wherever we need to find it. But...
Well, the Megadeth beer you can actually order off of Megadeth.com.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So maybe we're going to have to grab that. Maybe one day we could very well have someone from Megadeth on the show.
Oh, if we get Dave Mustaine, I'll be here, but I will be coming under the table.
Psycrotes will not know whether or not to come or cry. That is a quote that has not been on the podcast in a while.
I'm talking about when I met Dave Mustaine.
Oh, no.
I met him in 2010 at his book signing when I bought his book in Pennsylvania. And I showed him my Megadeth tattoo, which I got when I was drunk when I was 19.
Yeah.
And it looks like it got done with a red Sharpie. And I was like, "Hey, Dave, I got a Megadeth tattoo." And for those of you guys who aren't familiar with Dave Mustaine, he's a very sarcastic type of guy.
Yeah.
He looks at it, he does like the classic Mustaine snarl, and he goes, and I swear on anything, I'm not making this up, he goes, "Nice tattoo. Did you get it in prison?"
I mean, dude, what do you expect when you have a tattoo that looks like it was done in prison?
Right.
So, but no, what we're going to do is we're going to get into our shot of the month, which we debuted last week, which is Bird Dog chocolate flavored whiskey. So here you go. If you ever want to go out and get a cheap whiskey, go out and get Bird Dog chocolate flavored whiskey.
For the whole family.
Chocolate flavor.
Give it to the kids.
And I was telling Jess earlier that we could probably mix this with a chocolate milkshake or hot chocolate. You know, but they have all kinds of flavors.
They have other flavors
Yeah,
too.
they have blueberry, raspberry. You know, hell, they could very well have piss flavor for all we know. We don't know, but they had a whole shelf dedicated to just bird dog. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and do the bird dog, because you see this show is not a gimmick. We're called the Happy Hour Podcast, so we actually drink.
We really drink.
We really drink on the show, and then we sit there and like last week I sat there, I was like, why the fuck did I drive Psycrotes home right after the show ended? So here we go. We're gonna do our bird dog.
You're gonna do a shot of bird dog? What?
That was cold, and you know what? That chocolatey aftertaste helps out though.
Oh yeah.
So what I want to do
last week
is before we go live. And Psycrotes, I love you, but you're a very unusual character. You live a very interesting life. Everybody worldwide loves Psycrotes. By the way, I want to shout out to everybody watching wherever they're watching or listening wherever they're listening from. India, England,
all my
United
fans
States,
in
Ireland. We thank you guys. We said last week we just surpassed the 1,000 listen threshold. And then also a few of our videos have also now surpassed 1,000 views. So we thank you. Last week's episode with Rachel Hoffman is now at 400 views, and the audio version of that hasn't even aired. So we thank all of you guys watching or listening wherever you're at. The Happy Hour Podcast will not be here with you guys. Now, Psycrotes, what I want to do is I want you to get into the story that you told me last week. And from beginning to end, because I still can't wrap my mind around it, and I'm pretty sure one of the times when I go to pick you up or drop you off, that I'm going to witness a murder. And
tonight you just witnessed a thought.
And the whole thing is a part of me has always wanted to witness a murder, but like nothing will ever sit there and beat you walking into your house and I just hear a gun go off and see flashes, and I'm like, somebody's dead. So we're going to give the floor to Psycrotes. Psycrotes, tell everybody listening at home and watching at home on Facebook Live, keep in mind if you do not want to wait until our 1 week episode, until 1 week later, what we can do is you can always join us on Facebook Live when we go live a week early with our special guest. So Psycrotes, we're going to turn the floor over to you, my friend.
All right, so kids, quick pro tip: don't meet people off of Craigslist. Anyway,
Don't do anything off Craigslist.
old high priest, your boy here, was looking for a roommate. So I had an ad up on Craigslist, and didn't get any replies for quite a while. But then I was actually watching NXT, and I got a call, and the fellow says, "Hey, you still looking for somebody to help you out with your situation?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well,
shit.
You mind if I come by and take a look at the house? Take a look at the place?" "Yeah, sure, no problem." So the dude comes by. He's a large,
very large man.
Large man. We're I don't know exactly what his ethnicity was. For the sake of the story, we're gonna say he was Samoan. He looks Samoan.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. You obviously just call somebody what they are just by what they look like. I mean, God forbid if we say someone looks like this.
Was it Umaga?
It could have been Umaga. It very well could have been.
Shout out to speaking of Samoan, shout out to Samu. Hope you're listening. Love you, Samu.
It could have been the walking corpse of Yokozuna as well.
Anyway, guy comes by, and he was just weird. You know how you meet somebody and right off the bat, they just give you an odd feeling?
Yeah.
He was just a weird dude. He was all over the place. He was talking about religion and all this crazy shit. Like, dude, I can help you out. I can do whatever you want. I can do all this shit for you. I'm like, dude, we just met. And I'm like,
I just met you.
Yeah, I literally just met. It was like the scene in, have you seen The Big Lebowski, right?
Yes.
It was like the scene in Lebowski where the detective guy meets him, and he's like, and he's like, who the fuck are you, man? That's what it felt like. So anyway, there was no...
I've heard John Rambo a few times go, who the fuck is this guy?
He said that to me a few times. Anyway, the guy was just giving me weird vibes. So I was like, all right, bro, here's the thing. Give me a couple days to think about this. I'll call you back and let you know.
Yeah.
So this was on a Tuesday, and like end of August. Anyway, I didn't call him back, and I figured he would just know.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't call me back. He's probably not interested.
Right, like a job interview.
Right. So anyway, keep in mind, this was on a Tuesday. Fast forward to that Sunday morning, about 6:30 a.m. I'm in bed.
Oh, fuck that.
I hear some motherfucker yelling my name outside.
Mind you, Psycrotes doesn't go to bed until at least 4:30 at night.
Yeah, that's about correct. I hear somebody yelling my fucking name at 6:30 in the morning. Now, I've been in some situations in my life, so I don't know who this is. I may have to sleep still.
Yeah.
But who the fuck is this? I go downstairs. I forgot to mention, his name was Buddha. At least
Buddha.
That was what he said his name was.
Yeah. Did he ask you if you wanted to pray to Buddha? Like, tonight you're gonna pray to me, Psycrotes.
You know what's funny? I thought to take a quick detour. I actually teamed with a worker named Buddha. He was a lot cooler than this fuck. Anyway, me and Buddha did the job to Shane Shadows and Simon Shadows, April 30th, 2011. Anyway, back to the story. He's outside. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, hey man, you good? I brought some breakfast. You want something to eat? I'm like, no, it's 6:30 in the fucking morning. What are you doing at 6:30 in the morning?
Cheeseburgers, man.
So he gets out of his truck.
Hey, my name's Cheeseburger Larry.
He gets out of his truck and he's just got a giant jar. You picture what I got here. Probably a good, foot-high jar just full of all kind of dollar bills and 20s. I don't know what the fuck was in there. He's like,
your kidney.
He's like, bro, I got $2,000 in here. It's yours.
Wait. So let me get this straight. Dude shows up with a fuking jar.
Yeah.
A jar. Just a random ass jar. And is it cash? Is it change? Like
it looked like he just got back from a strip club. There's a bunch of fucking ones. There's fives. It's all...
So he sits there. He's trying to sell you.
A stripper.
This is $2,000. Yeah. This is it right here,
dude. It was probably like $76. He's like, this is $2,000. It's yours. I'm like, bro. And look, keep in mind, I was trying to be cool because man. I was trying to. I'm like, look, bro. I don't want your money. Honestly, you're kind of tripping me out a little bit. I think I'm going to go in another direction with my, my situation, but I appreciate the offer. At this point, this is when it gets interesting.
You took the money, right? I would.
No, I'm going. He gets out of his truck, and he just starts fucking screaming. Now, keep in mind, it's 6:30 in the morning. The sun is still coming up. You got me in my underwear because I just got out of bed. Yeah, my hair's all in my fucking face. I'm just
I mean, that's got to be a sight to see alone. Yeah. Just imagine driving up the road and you just see Psycrotes, his hair all fucked up, wearing boxers, and this dude's just yelling at him with a jar of money. I was actually
still in my diaper. I was in my adult diaper.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I got a prostate issue. For those who don't know, fuck you. Anyway, this fucking fat Samoan, he starts fucking yelling at me. He's like, what the fuck is wrong? I can do his voice. This is what he sounds like. What the fuck is wrong with you, you motherfucker? Are you fucking stupid? You're not going to take my money? You're not going to take this deal? Are you fucking stupid? And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you
don't wear an adult diaper. Fuck you.
Do you ever get one of those times in life where you're just standing there and time slows down? You're like, is this really happening?
Yeah, every day when I'm at work.
Okay, no, right. You've known me for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty laid back kind of guy.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But if they piss off
Psycrotes,
you know,
High Priest has a little bit of a temper.
Oh yeah, they piss off Psycrotes. The cheeky baby comes out. So that's what happens.
I'm standing there and I'm letting him cut his thing for a minute. I'll let him say what he's got to say. All right. Now it's time for me to cut my promo.
Oh, shit.
I looked him straight in the eyes. I said,
were you wearing your sunglasses while all this was happening?
I wasn't, actually.
Oh, that would have been great. He's just sitting there trying to make eye contact with you through glasses. He's just staring like,
if I would have been
let me see into your soul through your fucking eyes, you fuck.
I would have took him off like in a movie and just looked at him like this. But no. I absorbed everything he said, and I stood there.
I've never seen him without a sunglasses. That's some scary shit.
I've been a pro wrestler for 21 years.
Yeah.
All right, I'm cutting a promo on this son of a bitch. I looked at him, and here's what I said. All right, you fat motherfucker. First of all, fuck you and anybody who looks like you. You got two choices. Number one, you can get the fuck off my property right now. Or, number two, and I swear to God, I hope you choose this one, you can try to come in this house. I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to get my Smith & Wesson 40 caliber, and I'm going to deal with you myself, you fat piece of shit. Oh, what are you going to do? You going to shoot me? What did I just say?
Yeah.
So
that's what's going to happen.
He says some more shit. He jumps in his truck. Now, picture this. I live next to a church. There's a gate.
You do. And it's hard. It's very hard to get out of that.
Yeah, there's a gate on the other side. So he tries to peel out, not knowing there's a gate there. He gets in his truck and he fucking peels out. There's the gate. So he's got to turn around and come back. Keep in mind, he left the jar sitting on the sidewalk. I'm like, you know what? This jar's mine. But he comes back around. He jumps back out before I come out. He grabs the jar. He gets back in the truck, still yelling at me. Still the whole time.
Didn't you say like he drove and like he kind of scooped it?
Yeah.
Kind of like how you scoop a ground ball in a baseball game.
Yeah.
He
kind of just pulled it back. He pulls it for some reason. He pulls it in my neighbor's driveway. Then he peels off, still yelling and screaming the whole time. All right, I'm fucking. It's 6:30 in the morning. I'm gonna try to go back to bed. It's still early. So I go back to bed. It happens. And I thought that was the end of the story. And it was for about a week. But it wasn't. There's more.
No way.
You'd think that would be the finish, right?
He came back.
You'd think that'd be
No, dude. This is like a great wrestling story.
Right.
Just when you think
Just
it's
when you
over,
think
it takes a turn.
that was the false finish.
Yeah.
About a week later, I'm going out to get my mail, and my neighbor is sitting in his truck. Keep in mind, the guy that's sitting in his truck, he was living with me for like a week back in May.
Yeah.
I kicked him out because he took a shit in my shower.
I was so hoping. When you said you kicked him out, I was going to say Psycrotes. You have to say why you kicked him out.
He's an alcoholic, and he took a shit in my shower.
So here's the thing. Him shitting in your shower is where you draw the line.
Yes.
Now, I've known you for a long time, and I would never picture in a million years that someone shitting in Psycrotes' shower is where Psycrotes draws the line.
Bro, you didn't see this shit. You didn't have to clean it up. I've cleaned up a lot of shit in my life. It was very moist and anyway. I cleaned up.
He's like, you know what? I'm so drunk that I don't know where a toilet is. I'm gonna shit in this shower.
That's what happened. So anyway, he's living in his car now, like right out near my house.
Yeah.
I come out to get my mail. He's like, "Hey, Psycrotes, can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, what's up?" He's like, because keep in mind, he witnessed this whole thing with me and the Samoan. He was there when it happened in his car sleeping. So he's like, "Hey, that guy that you had that issue with about a week ago, I think he was on your property again." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I saw him sitting in your driveway in his truck like the other day."
Oh, dude, this is taking the turn of an investigation discovery story. This is going to end up on the ID channel. We're gonna know somebody whose story was featured on one of those true crime channels. That's what this is turning into.
We might have to cut the feed now.
So keep in mind, I still had the guy's phone number from when he had called me, a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give this guy a call back. So I had to get into character because you know me, Ray. You know I love the gimmick.
Yeah.
I go upstairs. I grab my little friend. He's in one hand, the phone's in the other. Dial the number. Say, "Hey, is this Buddha?"
Yeah.
Motherfucker totally fucking tries to kayfabe me. I was like, "Hey, were you on my property again?" He's like, "Who is this? What are you talking about? Where did you get this number?" I'm like, "Bro, I know who this fucking is. My neighbor said he saw you on my property again sitting in your goddamn truck." He's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea. Do not call me again." I'm like, all right.
You know what's great? Like the first part of this story, he sounded like a Samoan, and now the second part, he's all of a sudden Arabic.
This is how. This is
my head. I was like,
dude.
is he Samoan or is he Indian?
No. He changed his accent when I called him. He was Samoan, but when I called him, he was talking like he was
Are
fucking.
you sure he didn't call 7-Eleven?
No, bro. So anyway, I told him, I was like, look,
Thank you. Come again.
I was like, look, Buddha, I know this is you. I'm gonna warn you one more time. If I catch you on property again, it's gonna be the last mistake you ever made. And I hung up. Okay, so you'd think that would have been it.
Yeah.
There's one more part. And it's the best part, honestly, I think. This was on a Thursday. So the next night's a Friday.
Okay.
I was actually getting ready to go. It was late. I was watching the NBA playoffs, I believe. It was 1:30 and it was 1:37 in the morning. I was getting ready to go to bed.
Christ.
The phone rings. That late, I'm thinking, it's got to be one of my thoughts,
Yeah.
I didn't think. I look at the number. It's fucking him.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, okay,
Yes.
here we go. Here we go.
Hey, you know what? The buildup of this, I'm starting to get a little aroused on how where this is going. Like,
So,
What ethnicity was he this time?
yeah. Did he seriously turn into a black man?
he was still doing the Middle Eastern accent, but there's a reason for it, which I'll get into. So I'm like, all right, what's up, man? What are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, is this Mr. Socrates? I'm like,
Mr. Psycrotes.
I'm like, yeah, this is me. He's like, this is Buddha's boss.
What the?
So keep in mind, it sounded exactly like Buddha.
Yeah,
He's like, this is Buddha's boss. He's like, he works for me. We do installation. We do home improvement. He's like, I have to ask you.
Has a man shit in your shower recently?
He's like, did you call this number? Did you call this number last night? I was like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I did.
Yeah.
Because your boy fucking, was on my property again. And I told him, your associate, if he ever comes on my property again, he's getting one in his fucking temple. He's like, this is a shared number. He's like, let me apologize, sir. Let me apologize. I'm like, Buddha, I know this is you.
Yeah.
You did the same accent yesterday. He's like,
don't give
no,
me
no.
this
He's like,
bullshit.
we are from the same country. We are from the same country. That's why I sound like him.
I'm not from Pakistan, Buddha. I'm sorry.
He's like, at this point, I could have been talking to fucking ISIS. Who knows? But he's like, sir, let me ask you, did Buddha come on your property and disrespect you? I said, yes, as a matter of fact, he did. So I told him exactly what happened. I'm playing along at this point. Because I know it's fucking him, but I'm playing along. He's like, all right. He's like, let me tell you this. He's like, Buddha has been fired. He was fired yesterday because he did the exact same thing to other people, and I will not tolerate that. He's like, I will not tolerate that. He's like, but let me tell you something, Mr. Psycrotes. I am very high up in U.S. government. At this point, I'm just like, I'm like Hunter S. You know who Hunter S. Thompson is, right?
Yeah.
He had a saying.
If Facebook could see my face right now, I'm like, my jaw is dropped.
Matt's jaw is on the ground.
There was a story that Hunter S. Thompson told one time where he somehow wound up in the back of a limo with a real high-ranking judge and three hookers. And Hunter S. Thompson's quote was, "You know what? Some days are weirder than others." That's how I felt.
Yeah.
So he's still going. He's like, "I am very high up in U.S. government. I have lots of contacts. Let me assure you, Mr. Socrates, Buddha will never trouble you again. He will never come on your property. You will never hear from him. You will never see him. He will never trouble you again, my friend." I'm like, all right, bro. I'm like, I don't want no trouble.
Yeah.
But I told him again, I reiterated, my dad knew some guys in the Irish mob, which means I know some guys in the Irish mob. Kayfabe. I told him that. He's like, Mr. Socrates, I want to apologize one more time. You will never see Buddha again. You will have nothing but peace in your life. And then I swear,
Killed himself.
and then I swear to God, he still says, but I do own this home improvement company. If you need any help and a business done, I will be there for you.
That was Buddha. He wanted to fix your house up. Yeah.
So the last thing I said to him was, brother, you know, it's all good. As long as he doesn't come around, there'll be no more problems. The last thing he said to me was, peace to you, my brother. I apologize once again. He hung up, and as far as I know, that was the end of the story.
Okay.
So, do we have questions from the audience?
All right. So, let's turn this around. Yeah. So, if you guys could have saw the looks on our faces, well, a lot of this was. I still can't get past the fact that the dude shit in your shower. But
Now, here's my theory.
my thing is, how do you know? Now, let me roll this out to you. How do you know that the shitter living in the car out front is not in cahoots with Buddha? How do you know that he was like, this motherfucker threw me out of the house, so he had Buddha come?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Plot twist. Ray, you got me paranoid now.
Yeah. Well, see,
Here's my theory. For those of you guys who don't know, you know, I'm pretty open and honest about it. I have fucking schizophrenia, bipolar, all that shit.
Yeah.
This guy, because so I know about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this guy has a fucking split personality.
Yeah.
He was being completely serious when he called me.
Yeah.
Like you could tell he wasn't trying to prank me. He was being fucking serious.
Oh yeah. Dude. Now
Well, here's one of the other things I said to him.
it was Craigslist. What do you expect?
So I said to him, I was like, look, bro, obviously you're crazy, but you don't know me.
Yeah.
I'm crazy too.
Yeah.
Ask anybody who knows me. So I just made sure he knew.
Now that's what makes me go back to the whole fact of I dropped you off that night after you told me that story.
You did.
And the whole drive back, the only thing I thought in my mind was let that pickup truck be in the driveway. Because if it is, I'm going to let Psycrotes go into his house. I'm going to call my wife, tell her I'm about to witness a murder. And then I'm going to put my feet up and wait until I hear gunshots and see a flash. And then I'm going to drive out because, I mean, I would love to have that 5 minutes of fame being on one of those.
Little inside baseball here. When Ray picked me up for the show tonight, there was a vehicle in the driveway, right?
Yes.
You were hoping that was him.
Yes, I looked. I'm like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It was actually an Uber that was picking up a young lady friend of mine.
But Ray walks out of the Psycrotes' house. I'm like, this is what's happening.
Yeah, she's pretty hot little piece of ass. Pretty hot little piece of ass. Yes, no. You saw her.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, is this happening right now? Like what?
I don't know.
What?
Was it
You know,
Buddha?
what am I? How do I know that wasn't Buddha?
It could have been.
It could have been Buddha. Like
Well, here's the thing.
How do we
I'm
know?
not judging you. I mean, I do some weird shit.
How do
too,
we
but-
know that Buddha is not a shapeshifter? Like that's the thing. Suppose Buddha.
Wait a minute.
Suppose Buddha is the tub shitter,
you-
the thought, and
wait
Buddha
a minute.
all in one.
Are you saying I've been fucking Buddha for the last 3 years?
Maybe.
Well, see what you thought. This was one of our happy hour podcasts. This is actually an intervention.
Yeah, that's what this is. And mind you, earlier, Mike, that son of a bitch, he could have show up, but he was watching, and he was like, "Psycrotes, don't lie. You don't wear underwear," which is 100% true. Like,
No, I don't. Well, honestly, here's the thing. I do wear an adult diaper to bed because I got a prostate issue. But here's the thing. If you look on adult diapers, you know what they're called? Underwear, because they're politically correct.
Yes.
So technically, I was wearing underwear.
Gotta be very PC now.
Hey, you guys missing? He was like, "Technically, I'm wearing underwear." In quotation marks. It's underwear.
I only piss the bed like once every 3 months. It's not that bad.
I could see you wrestling Buddha outside in your adult diaper.
Dude,
Or
you know,
underwear.
You know what, honestly,
my only hope is that Buddha is watching right now, or a week from now when this podcast airs on October 18th,
He's gonna be a
that
fucking-
he's going to be listening. and
gonna
he's
be
going
a
to sit
top
there, he's
fan.
going to be like, that
Buddha, if you put this camera back on me. Buddha, if you're out there, let me tell you something, brother.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You come back on High Priest property, you will not get the same treatment as the thoughts do. I take it easy on the thoughts. All I do to the thoughts is spank them and come in their little pretty mouths. But you come back on High Priest property, you motherfucker. You fucking jabroni. You fucking Al Snow son of a bitch. You come back on High Priest property one more time, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bend you over. First, I'm going to break your back. Then, I'm going to fuck your ass. I'm going to make you humble, Buddha.
All right, so
Shout out to the thoughts if you're listening.
so this has taken a turn that I did not think it would ever take.
Right. For all the audience listening, Ray, you've known me for a long time.
Yes, I have. I've
do.
known you for over 20
you know
years.
this story is 100% true.
Oh, dude, I know 1,000% it's true. Why would I not believe you? It's too wild to not be true.
Great.
And you know what was going through my head the whole time he was doing the Sheik thing and telling the story is that when people hear this in a full stream podcast, poor 71-year-old Dee Wallace needs to follow this. So when she goes to listen to her episode, she's gonna hear Psycrotes. She's gonna hear this motherfucker right
Next
here.
to like Otis. Oh yeah. You should have seen me doing that.
But see, that's the thing.
Shout out to Dee Wallace. What's up? How you doing now?
So without further ado, we're about 27 minutes through. In about, let's say, 30 minutes, we're going to be back with Dee Wallace.
I don't think
so
there's
make
And,
sure.
and special guest Buddha.
Yes, and we may very well have Buddha call in, or just walk into my house and just kill Psycrotes with me and Matt sitting
I just
here.
don't think there's enough beer for any of this.
Yeah, I don't. Like we have
Keep
a
in mind,
4-pack.
keep in mind one last thing. For those of you who don't know, I've been sober for 10 years now, and this whole Buddha situation, I'm way too sober for this shit.
What would have happened if you were drinking?
Bro, if this shit had happened in 2008, Buddha would be in a ditch right now somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have waited to get the peace.
Buddha will be right next to the other person that's in his yard.
Now,
Kayfabe, Ray, kayfabe.
now, one closing statement. Now,
As far as we know, Jamie is still alive.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Brittany.
Hey, but keep on the record, Ray. The thought you saw tonight was alive, right? She was still
For now.
She was still in
She's
this
alive
world.
for now.
now, the closing statement I have is, yeah, you don't want to ever meet somebody off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
It's a good porn genre, but in actuality, no.
Yeah.
Can I,
You now
here's,
meet
the, thing, here's,
people
here's the
off
thing.
of Craigslist.
Here's the thing. Ray, you're a big baseball fan like me.
Yes. Huge baseball fan.
Say you bat 333 for your whole career.
Yeah.
You're going into the fucking Hall of Fame, right?
No.
You know what I'm batting off Craigslist? 2 for 3. Here's the thing. First one I met off there,
Yeah.
a girl. Might have had some fun with her. Second guy I met off of there, I sold him tickets to Alice in Chains because I couldn't go to the concert because I was supposed to win the NWL Hardcore title that night, which I did.
Hey, bro, I gotta win the title.
Bro, I gotta get my shit in.
Yeah.
That was the second one. The third one, okay, that was Buddha.
That was Buddha.
I'm 2 for 3, bro. I'm still 2 for 3.
And what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, get ready to wrap part 1 of this up. We will be back.
But if
For
you're on
those of you
Craigslist, I'm still looking for a roommate.
For those of you listening at home, we're going to get ready to go into a commercial break. We'll be right back with Dee Wallace. But make sure you go to teespring.com and find all of our exclusive Happy Hour podcast merchandise. This month is
Will there
Breast
be a
Cancer
shirt of me just standing over Buddha holding his head?
Maybe we will.
Halloween
Oh,
special.
dude, that would be great.
Buddha-
That'd be awesome.
You know what? You know what?
It'd be awesome to get a shirt on this motherfucker.
Yeah, Psycrotes, put your shirt back on. There's no. Yeah.
Before we get finished, before we go to Dee Wallace.
Before we go to Dee Wallace, put your shirt on.
I'll put my shirt back on as soon as I say what I gotta say, brother. Number one, fucking Lakers are winning the championship tonight. If you like the Miami Heat, fuck you. You Al Snow sons of bitches. Number 2, rest in peace to Eddie Van Halen. Number 3, one more time, Buddha, suck my dick. Number 4, Tori, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, you know what? I forgot all about that. Eddie Van Halen passed away recently, and no doubt Eddie Van Halen
top
was
10
probably,
top 10 guitar players.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Guitarists
But
of all time.
I was gonna say probably one of the top 3. Like
at least top 10, but
you know,
probably higher.
and it was great sitting there hearing all the Van Halen songs, but he had a long battle with cancer.
Yeah.
It sucks. So rest in peace,
Rest
Eddie
in
Van
peace,
Halen.
Eddie.
We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. For those of you watching on Facebook Live, we'll be back in 30 minutes with Dee Wallace. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Happy Hour podcast. Now, the first half of the show went off a little bit off rails because of Psycrotes. Of course, I'm back. I'm Ray. This is Matt, and we're here with Psycrotes. We're here with our very special guest. We're here on Facebook Live, and of course, any of you guys listening, a week from now on the actual podcast itself, we are here with the one and only Dee Wallace, which we mentioned last week. I had the opportunity of interviewing Dee about 8 years ago on Happy Hour TV when we were doing that. It was at the Horrifying Convention in Gettysburg, PA, and it was her, our guest last week, Rachel Hoffman, and our vintage interview guest this year, Tyler Main, who for some reason we have all those this month for the podcast, which is amazing for the month of October. How are you doing tonight, Dee? It's great seeing you.
I'm fabulous. Thank you.
And we see you stayed busy during COVID, during the quarantine. You never stopped working. You made a short called Stay Home, and that debuted today on Bloody Disgusting.
Yeah.
What, for those who haven't seen Stay Home, what can you tell everybody about your short Stay Home?
Well, it was an idea that just popped in, and I called my daughter, and she said, "Oh, I think that's great, Mom." And she called her friend, and they wrote this great script. And Chris Heck wrote it with her, with Gabrielle, and co-directed it with her. And I called some of my buddies, Scout Taylor Compton and Danielle Harris and Kane Hodder and Barbara Crampton, and they all went, "We're in, sure." And, we shot each of our individual segments in our own home, and it was COVID compliant all the way, but it's a really funny take on the COVID BS that we're all going through.
It's funny because you sit there and it kind of gave you a little bit of a sense of what a horror movie would be like during these times. And you sit there and you see all these movies with the killer, and then you sit there and you think, you're like, huh, and I'm not going to give too much of it away in case.
Oh, don't give it away.
But, it has everything that, a typical horror movie would have. You have that twist. You have, that shocking moment. And, you did great. Of course, Danielle Harris, we all know her from the Halloween movies, See No Evil. Kane Hodder, he was Jason. Just a who's who of people that popped up in that. And Dee, other than that, how have you been keeping yourself busy during COVID? Are there any movie scripts that came over for anything post-COVID?
Oh, well, sure. There's a lot of things in the works, but I'm not traveling anywhere right now.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's safe.
Yeah.
Which is a personal decision for myself. But I have a whole other business, a whole healing practice that I do. And I have a call-in show on Sunday mornings. And I just finished this huge 2-week healing summit with almost 300 people that I did. So
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I feel like I've been busier than when I can go out and act and do all the conventions, but I'm really missing I really like connecting with the fans, so I'm missing that. And that's one of the reasons we did this, because we kind of wanted to give a little gift to everybody out there during this stupid, crazy time in our lives.
And of course, horror fans are very unique. Me, myself, I'm a huge horror fan. I grew up watching horror movies with my mom. You know, we did a whole dedicated horror episode, you know, one of the episodes that we did, and all of our guests this month are horror guests. Now, out of the main horror movies you did, I'm going to roll E.T. into this because everybody knows E.T. And honestly, to me, E.T., that alien, was absolutely terrifying to me as a child.
You're very wussy.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, a lot of people were scared of E.T.
Yeah.
I hear that. Actually, I hear that a lot at the convention.
Yeah. And, you know, we have E.T., we have Cujo, we have Critters. You were in Rob Zombie's Halloween. You know, working with Rob Zombie, that had to be great. And, of course, The Howling. The Howling, you know, 1981, you go back to that. And I remember I played the Howling video game. You know, it's crazy that they had a Sega Genesis game for the Howling. Now, with all those, which do you think was probably the most physically intense? All those movies.
Cujo. I don't even have to think about it. Cujo, Cujo, and more Cujo. Just about killed me. And I'm not kidding. You know, they had 13 dogs. They had one D. Okay.
Wow. I didn't know they used that many dogs. Holy shit.
Yeah, there were 13 if you include the stunt guy and the 2 Labradors that they thought they could dress up in a Cujo suit, but it never worked. But they could rehearse some with them, you know. The dogs were really, really taken very good care of. And Carl Miller even slept in the barn with them.
Wow.
And we were everybody in the set was very present about not overworking the dogs. But Dee, it was okay. It was okay to work, Dee.
It's funny. Cujo is one of those movies that I know that I could never get my wife to watch because my wife, you know, we have 2 dogs. She's a dog lover, and she's one of those ones. Dogs can never do no wrong. And then
I am too. You know, it was the bat. It wasn't dog.
Yeah.
Dogs can never do no wrong.
Disease, right.
And you know, she'd be the first thing she would ask me is, "Does the dog die?" Every movie that we watch has a dog. She's like, "Does the dog die?" And I'm just like,
well,
probably shouldn't watch this.
Every girl cries when a dog dies in a movie.
Yeah.
That's a
well,
movie.
you know, in the book, the kid dies.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Oh yeah, and Stephen King contacted Dan Blatt, our producer, afterwards and said, you know, thank God you didn't kill the kid because he never got more hate mail about anything than when he killed the kid at the end of Cujo. But that's why we went to such great lengths to show the dog and how dangerous and menacing the dog was, so that when I finally did shoot him, it was okay.
And that's actually I didn't know that the book Cujo for Stephen King was that much different. I know when you look at Stephen King's It, you know, there were a lot of things that were portrayed differently once the movies came out than there was in the book. So, but do you ever think Cujo would be one of those movies that they could do a good remake for?
No,
No.
I don't. But then, you know, if they redid it today, it'd probably be all CGI and be totally different. And, you know, a true horror fan doesn't want that.
No.
It would look cooler, but it wouldn't be as authentic.
Yeah.
And
How
that's
can it look cooler than a real dog?
Well, I mean, you know what? You bring up a good point because the new Lion King movie.
Yeah.
The new Lion King movie was all CGI.
Right.
That's all it was, and it's kind of sickening how real those lions look in the Lion King off of just CGI alone.
Still just as fucking.
Yes, but I hate to break it to you guys. The original Lion King didn't use a real lion.
Oh, my world is shattered.
It was also a cartoon.
Socrates is about to leave right now. And now, in the Howling, you became one of the werewolves, and out of all the things you could in real life, and we were talking about this earlier, in real life, if you could transform into something, whether it be a werewolf, the chupacabra, anything crazy, what do you think you would want to turn into? Like me, for example, I would love to be a dog.
Glenda.
Glenda.
I would want to be the good witch.
Oh, nice.
Glenda from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Now, what about you, Matt? If you could turn into anything at all, what would it be?
I don't know. Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Excluded in the woods somewhere.
Sounds good to me.
I mean, I'd want to be a
What about
dog.
me?
The dogs have it so easy. They
I'd
get to
wanna
eat,
be-
play, sleep, all that fun stuff.
I want to be Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. That
Either him or Jay Baller.
Boy, there's an alternate ego for you.
And working on Rob Zombie's Halloween. Rob Zombie, we all know his
Awesome.
know his movies.
Yeah, I saw him live one time, man. That he's
Oh,
crazy.
he puts on a great show.
that energy that he gives off is just.
He is crazy, but he's crazy, awesomely kind and great. And
And
oh my God, I adore Rob and I love working with him. Just love working with him.
Oh, yeah.
How was it being a part of the Halloween franchise? We the Halloween franchise has been around forever. They just did they just did the remakes. Halloween Kills unfortunately could not come out this year because of this whole COVID thing. But how was that being, a part of that franchise?
It really wasn't a remake, it was a Rob make.
Yeah.
He made it all his own.
Mhm.
I mean, it's awesome, especially at the conventions, to be a part of all the Halloween hoopla and gang and everything, but Rob put his own stamp on that, I think.
Yeah, I love the backstory that he gave to his version. And that's the thing. He answered a lot of questions in that version that a lot of people didn't answer. They showed Mike as a kid, in the asylum. They showed him wearing the mask, and it's like, man,
he's a very creative director.
Yeah, he's very
incredible. Yeah.
And
the beauty about Rob is he trusts you, and you trust him, and so great creative things happen when you bring all that together.
And of course, we all know
like
Critters. Critters for me growing up, and Critters, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel Critters was made around the same time Gremlins was made. Kind of.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know which one came out first, though. You guys should know this.
I believe Critters
We should do this.
Yeah,
I believe Critters was like a year or two before.
Well, I feel like Critters was kind of like they were doing their own version of the success that Gremlins had. And Critters, to me, I loved Critters.
Oh yeah.
See,
Critters was a whole
Watching Critters for me, I had been shit.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 years old. I remember watching with my
Shame on your parents.
I was watching actually with my grandfather. And I just remembered when the Critters all got together and they make that little ball, and they're just like a tumble ball of just critters. And
That's kind of what they were on set too.
Yeah, and they just mold.
We would be in this highly emotional scene, and then we hear, "All right, roll them in." Somebody off camera would roll them in.
I feel like Critters is one of the more like cult classic horror
Oh,
movies.
yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Critters definitely stands out.
Look who we're talking to. Jeez, a cult classic.
And
she's vintage, man.
We're gonna go to ET real quick. There's something that I saw online of a deleted scene with ET, and it was a deleted scene that people aired.
Where are you going with this?
And it showed ET
I'm
wearing.
not naked, am I?
It showed E.T. wearing a robe, and you were laying in bed, and that was the photo. And I started reading it back, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I saw it when I was doing, a lot of back research, and I was like, I have to ask you about what was that scene exactly in
That's
E.T.?
part of the scene where he comes in and puts the Reese's Pieces on my nightstand.
Okay.
Now, what that comes from is there was a whole B story about how E.T. had this crush on Mary.
I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't
That's
blame now.
also when you see E.T. looking through the little slats when I'm reading to Gertie,
Yeah.
reading Peter, that was part of E.T. watching Mary. But it just distracted, from the real point of the film. So they kept a few shots in, but
Yeah, it would have, like, if you saw that in a film, you'd kind of be like, what is it? But
Don't lie, Ray. You were looking up a porn parody. We all know you were.
But just the still photo of it, you see it and you're just laying in bed and you see E.T. in a robe and you're just kind of like, this just looks so awkward.
hey, Mary was kinky, all right? What can I say?
E.T. was getting ready to photo.
Oh, dear God. All right, moving on.
And like E.T., as I said, to me he was scary, and also his finger glowing. If I ran into anybody or anything that had their finger just randomly glow, I'm not sure I would hang around. Like, even if it healed me or anything like that, I'm not sure.
Well, but that's the innocence of being a kid, you see. The innocence of childhood is. We're not stacked with all that fear. We're stacked with wonderment and friendship, and that's what the whole film is about. Or did you miss the point?
It's pretty easy for us to miss the point.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking earlier. We're like, this is a podcast where we legitimately drink, so we miss a lot of points on a lot of things.
I know. If you'd told me, I would have brought my wine. Thanks, boys.
And Dee, speaking of children, you've worked with a lot of children on camera.
You think?
A lot of movies with children. Was there ever, and of course you worked with a young Drew Barrymore. We all know, Drew Barrymore from all the countless things she's done. She was in E.T. with you. Was there ever any hard, for the kids? Do you ever remember any hard scenes that the kids had a hard time with in any of the movies? Obviously.
Oh.
No, they it seemed like
they were total professionals from the word go. They just knew how to find that stuff in them. Henry was an old soul.
Yeah.
Old soul. And I mean, the biggest challenge I think that Drew had was she was that age where she really couldn't distinguish reality from fantasy.
Yeah.
So we would find her over in the corner talking to E.T. when he wasn't working. So Stephen had a couple of people on E.T. when he was off the set so that when Drew would go over to talk to him, he would come alive.
That's cool. That's really cool. And that's making the kids feel at home. I thought at least Cujo, doing some of those scenes with Cujo, especially in the car and all that the child would be scared, scared out of his mind, and the acting.
Not Danny. No. I woke up every morning and thank God I got that kid for that part, because if I had gotten a kid that couldn't be in the moment with me, that couldn't, I don't know how we would have ever done that film.
Yeah.
I mean, he was amazing.
He did great, and you believe the fear that he had throughout that whole movie as well. I watched it a couple of weeks ago, and just the whole fear that he had throughout that whole ordeal, you're just like, man, that kid, and it's kind of like, they would say in some of the Friday the 13th movies, what they would do is they would mistime stuff. and pretty much they'd be like, all right, well, in like 5 seconds, Jason's going to jump through the window. And the actor would wait 10 seconds, and then he would jump through the window, and it would be a legitimate scare.
Mm-hmm.
So, you watch some of that, and you're like, man, what's a legitimate scare? What's not? How good of an actor is a person, where you're like, oh, man, you're scared, your heart's racing. And then also, their heart's racing as well. And, it did a truly, truly great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
And out of all those movies, if you could live through one in real time, which do you think you would deal with the best in real time out of all those movies? Out of E.T., Cujo, Critters, Rob Zombie's Halloween. If for some reason in real life you had to deal with one of those.
Oh, I would love to really deal with a friendly alien. I would love that in real life.
Yeah, and see, so that's the thing. If any aliens are out there, come to Dee Wallace. She would love.
As long as you're friendly aliens.
Yeah. As long as you're
not evil, anal-probing aliens.
Yeah. And no weird aliens.
I don't believe in weird aliens anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they're all here to help us and support us and help us figure out our shit.
I mean, really, we could be the weird aliens to them. I mean, they could come down here and be like, man, what's going on here?
My theory on aliens is I'm more of a, what is that, the Fermi paradox kind of guy?
Fermi paradox.
Fermi paradox, there you go. But if they did so happen to stop by, they looked at our planet and said, fuck those guys.
Keep going.
And kept going.
Yeah, they probably look down at us and go, what's the point? Let's move on.
Let's just keep going this way. We're going to exit stage left over here.
Nope. We're gone.
And real quick,
what if when you die, you open your eyes and there's an alien just sitting across the table from you smoking the bong, and it just looks at you and goes, that was a hell of a trip, huh, man?
Real quick, what we're going to do.
That would be my life story.
We're going to get into our Ode to Humanity segment, which we're going to do the Cards Against Humanity.
Has she ever played?
And have you ever played
Well,
Cards?
I played it years ago, guys, so I'll do the best I can.
All right, so what I'll do is I'm going to read off the face card, and the face card is pretty much the healing process began when I joined a support group for victims of blank. And your choices for the answer for that is warm, velvety Muppet sex,
E.T.
running naked through a mall, pissing and shitting everywhere, demonic possession, Hillary Clinton's death stare, daddy's credit card, and establishing dominance.
Oh, I picked the last one.
Establishing dominance.
Oh, yeah.
D picks the healing process began when I joined a support group for victims of establishing dominance. Awesome.
Okay. I didn't foresee that.
You gotta be in control, guys.
Dee's probably sitting there like, what the hell did I get myself
Yeah, kinda.
What are you talking? No, I'm thinking, what did we get ourselves into? She likes to establish dominance. Are you kidding?
And Dee, once everything opens back up and COVID's gone, obviously conventions. That the first time I interviewed you for Happy Hour TV, it was at one of the conventions. How is the convention experience for you? Do you, is that something?
I love doing the conventions.
Yeah, it seems like everybody has so much fun. Like, everybody's sitting there, and it's amazing. I'm pretty sure you've probably seen things and signed things that you probably never even knew existed. From certain,
Almost every con, I go, where did you get this, and how can I get one?
What do you think are some?
I love to hear the stories that everybody has. I cannot tell you how many people have come up to me and told me that they were conceived in the back seat at the drive-in during one of my movies. And, the heartwarming stories. There was a mom that came up to me, and she was the mother of a 10-year-old autistic child.
Oh, wow.
And she'd never heard him speak.
Wow.
And she took him to see the re-release of E.T. and on the way home, he started saying every line that E.T. said in the movie. In 10 years, she had never heard her son speak.
That's awesome.
I love listening to all the stories from A to Z and meeting the people and the hugging. I'm a big hugger. You probably remember that.
Yeah.
And I'll be glad when the circuit can open up again.
What do you think is probably the coolest thing that someone has brought in for you to sign? Like, just right offhand, like you sat there and you looked, you're like as you said, wow, where did you get?
I think it was probably a European poster from Cujo.
Okay.
That I had never ever seen, and it was really a work of art.
So
But I've signed people's butts and titties and you name it.
Speaking of butts, so no one brought in like a Reese Piecey that claimed that ET ate it off your booty for you to sign.
What?
they were like, yeah, we saw the deleted scene.
You were watching that there.
I've got to stop drinking.
Hey,
Yeah, Dee Wallace. Dee Wallace is gonna come over here and she's gonna kill Matt. That's what's gonna. She's gonna put on the Michael Myers mask and she's just gonna
Stop drinking.
It would be hey, you got to establish your dominance. It would be a complete pleasure on my part.
And Dee, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let you go. We know you got a lot of stuff to do. We appreciate you being on the Happy Hour podcast. For Facebook Live, we're out of here.